episode of Silent Voice. This is Divya. So we have here our Guruji ShriViral Manik to answer all the questions. Today we are discussing about astral projection. So Guruji, the first time I heard about astral projection is from the Marvel universe. So where Doctor Strange experiences this astral projection, so where he separates from himself, from the body, to the soul separates from the body, and the soul travels, and soul gets the knowledge, and he'll be doing some other work. So, is this like how this cinematic astral projection that we receive is how similar it is from the reality? So can you talk like can you tell about what astral projection is and like how it happens in the real world?
Basically, we always astral travel, except when we are in here and now.
Can you be more elaborate?
So yeah, definitely. I will definitely go and explain every aspect of astral travel because this has been my very favorite subject. See, if you understand the whole nature of the soul and how the soul is departed from uh, the original unit,
Mm.
we may call it as a source. We may call it as the ends of. It's the original light. From that we have departed. And when the soul is in body, it actually finds and searches for the its destination. Basically, at night when we sleep, the soul starts traveling and takes the journey. It's not that it only travels at the night; it can travel at any time.
Mm.
Suppose if I ask you what was your experience in 10th standard in the school? Can you narrate one incident?
I need to think back. uh, I need to think back to the 10th standard, and uh,
So that is astral projection.
even thinking is astral projection.
Not thinking, you being there. Okay. So the objective of the astral travel it is not to remember. That's not the memory. To get the perspective right, it is the it is looking at the reality from the outside with a specific object with a specific intention.
Like when you asked about give me some memory in
Yeah.
that particular time and time
So
frame.
when yeah, there are two ways. Either you access your own memory within. That is not astral projection. So when you go to that class and actually look at the scenario and understand what is happening there,
Mm.
that is astral projection.
We experience the
Actually, it is being without the body.
right.
In that state of consciousness, you can enter into that state of consciousness, listen to every conversation that has happened there. So maybe in that place, there may be several conversations which has happened.
Right. Yeah.
You target only one layer where you were present and you
Mm.
were in the 10th standard. So we give the conditions,
Mm.
we give the direction. We, as you write the software, you know, to go to a specific destination for a specific design purpose.
Mm.
It's like writing a command in AI.
Mm. Mm.
So when you write a command in AI finds that specific information.
Right.
It does not mean that the information is only that much. It is that layer of information that is revealed to you. So
Mm.
when you go there, it is the information that is revealed to you is all about the conditions that you have put in there. For example, in your case, it's about an incidence.
Mm.
So when I say the incidence, your memory searched for an incidence
Right.
and it found out an incidence. So then you are accessing the memory. From there, you can start astral projecting and seeing exactly what has happened at that time.
Yeah.
And okay, get your perspective correct. What is there in the memory may not be exactly that has happened.
Mm.
There will be recalibration, realignment of your brain, getting the perspective right, getting the higher perspective of your consciousness, looking at the scenario from the different dimensional point of view.
Mm.
So these are the benefits or objectives of the astral travel, and the memory that you have stored get altered. So you have a better view of your own self or the incidences that you have coded in your brain.
Got it. So like when like a lot of people are not trained and not aware that they're doing astral projection. So when they're going back into the incidents again, aren't they living the same life again and again? Like let's say if there is any bad incidents happening, so aren't they living again and again the same thing and experiencing the same thing again and again? Like how it is benefiting for the person, like
How?
how it is benefiting for the person. So
See, we have to decide benefiting in the sense that this is not the only, this is an example I was quoted about the astral travel. This is not the only purpose of the astral travel. Astral travel can be done from the various perspective. Okay, why do we astral travel? We astral travel to understand our full potential divinity. We do the astral travel to open our perceptions to the multidimensional reality. We can, explore with the curiosity what is happening. It's not only to alter the memory. It's not, and none of the astral travel journey is to be taken lightly, and you cannot do your ill intentions in the astral travel. It is not the journey, it is about getting the right view of the situation. And it
okay.
is not your personal perspective that you know about what is there lying in the past. Only your higher self perspective will be revealed to you. And what is an adjustment you need in your higher self perspective? And what is the greater alignment that you can achieve with your own self with and with the higher perspective? So there is an higher perspective, the higher self, and there is your own perspective. So that needs to be aligned.
Right.
What we understand of the world and what is happening around us is a very limited way of looking at the things.
Yeah. So what we perceive and what happening in the reality is completely different.
Maybe yes, definitely, because it's a limited perspective that we get.
Yeah. So Guruji, like so since like people like us, we don't have any tools or any like I know you I have you, like they don't have any guidance or anything. Like can anyone go and do astral travel anytime they want, or do they need any guidance like to make sure they're going in a right path? So they like how a person can use the astral travel for their advantage.
See, how the person can travel requires at least some kind of a training.
Right.
Right now, what we do is it's like we have a car without the steering.
Mm.
Everything happens so accidentally and incidentally. We do astral travel in the night when we are in dream. Dream is also innate ability to astral travel.
Mm.
We can travel to the different spiritual planes. We can
Mm.
get answers to our problems and situations.
Right.
And the word astral travel has come from the Greek word, which is
Uh-huh.
from the astron star.
Okay.
Going on to the astron star, that is the whole purpose. And for the astral travel, we don't need to leave the body.
Mm.
Okay. So there are some basic things which we need to understand to astral travel is the because the spirit is an infinite thing, you remain in the body and the one half of your body, one part of your body shifts. And it is like a remote, drawn like of a situation which you feel that it goes out of your body and finds things for you.
Mm.
That is the whole perspective, because the soul is not comfortable being confined into the limited area and the limited space that it is and the limited perspective that you are using. So the higher self will always take you out of your body and make you look at things from a different perspective, because our reality perception is only 5%,
Mm.
and we only process 5% of the dimensional information that we receive. Even 5% to that level is very less, and that we can go below that also. It is the highest level of information that we receive. If you look at the multi-dimensional reality and of yourself, you actually move out of the five senses
Mm-hmm.
and your spiritual sense is activated, and that's how you actually astral travel. As far as the techniques and the method of doing astral travel, I'll get into those areas little later in this conversation. And we can do the astral travel with a conscious awareness, with a dimensional awareness, with a defined purpose, with a defined objective to resolve your situations in life, to know exactly what is happening, and to give you full awareness of the multidimensional reality and conscious living into the multidimensional reality with a deeper connection and getting into the parallel life. We actually live 22 archetypes, and in these 222 archetypes, what is that all the archetypes reveals and represents us, that we can visit all these archetypes. So we have to define the purpose and the objective of the astral travel. Any further question, ma'am?
Ah, so you're talking about archetypes. So like that is the first time I've heard. Like, what are these archetypes we got?
Archetypes are basically there are different sets of to understand the consciousness. What are the different archetypes? The king's archetypes. There are a list of archetypes available. Archetypes is the you live in that particular role. So there are various roles defined. So in consciousness, we have been living these archetypes, these roles. So these are the basic roles that in the consciousness we have defined in the spiritual realm.
Okay, so like what these roles look like? I mean,
There is a whole list of archetype,
can you name like
and we
list?
can do. It's an entirely different topic in this case.
Okay.
Okay, we are not diving into the archetype in this conversation, but what is important is that, like, there are prostitute archetypes. That doesn't mean that you are a prostitute, but it means that you are living that for doing anything. In exchange, you have to give something.
Mm.
You have to surrender your soul or do. In the prostitute archetype, where the body actually a person gives the body in exchange of something.
Okay. Oh.
But in this case, you are giving some part of your soul, some part of your consciousness
Okay.
in order to gain something in this reality.
Okay.
So we actually live, a king's archetype is to rule, is the ruler's archetype.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have lived different archetypes in different lives that we have lived.
Okay. So, yeah, Guruji. So does the job count as this prostitute? archetype that you mentioned before? Like, since we give part of our time, part of our day to the work, will that count as a prostitute archetype?
No, 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 no. Work is not. See, it is your inner state. It is all about when we discuss or when we do the spiritual healing and when we identify the challenges of this life, it is what archetype you are living that it also very important to find out when we get into the healing of persons. And we know that what challenges the person is going through depends on what archetype he or she is living. And archetypes are the different schools of understanding their consciousness and living in that role of the consciousness, which is limited, which is not full blown, full reality as it is.
Okay.
See, the word is so derogative in that terms of the prostitute, but there are many people who live in this archetype which they are not aware about.
Um,
That means that does not mean that you are into that profession.
okay. Okay.
See, two people working in the same organization, one is living in who is operating from the archetype of a king, and one is operating from an archetype of a prostitute. They both will function differently. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean the king archetype will be the CEO of the company. Both sits on the same desk, works on the same job profile,
Mm-hmm.
but they represent a different archetype. So their experiences with the job and their life is very different.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah. No, makes.
Carleen Mess has, she has worked extensively on this, and she is one of the leading master on the archetypes.
Who, Guruji?
Caroline Mess.
Okay. Yeah.
Caroline.
Look into it. Yeah.
I'll,
Uh,
I'll, I'll, I'll write the reference in the
description. Yeah.
description.
Sure. Yeah. And also, um, and the question is like, can you give like fascinating examples, like the way you experienced astral travel? Can you give me some examples, like the things that you like? Uh, Anything
Well,
fascinating?
example of the astral travel, see, with respect to what do you want? There are multiple examples. So, for example, see, I'll give a very, very direct, immediate example of what is happening. Like currently, when we are talking, you are throwing me the questions which I have no idea about, correct?
Correct.
Now, how do I get these answers? Okay, I know the basic concepts, but when I want to know something, I send my consciousness to that point to get the information, and this so happens so quickly. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then the entire process happens so fast that I access the information, sending my consciousness, my soul to that level, and get the information. Just speak about it. Yeah, even that I am not involved. I'm just witnessing that. My body is participating because my brain knows how to use the language. My body is participating because my brain knows how to control the motor functions and what words that I need to speak to convey the meaning that I have. So, to give you a very interesting example of the archetype, of the astral travel, that you could say that I may have a lot of experiences in my childhood about that. But specifically, one incident which has actually caught my own attention at the very early age of my career. When I used to travel a lot in Mumbai city, now one of the days where I was late in going back to my place, which I reside 35 kilometers from the Bombay city. In between, there is a suburb which is called Dadar.
Mm-hmm.
And in that Dadar circle, when I reached, I was in my own car, and there was a police, checkup. So I'm talking about very old days. So when I saw that, and I police did not stop me, but I went past, and at that time a flash came into my mind. The thought came that every time I'm passing through the police checking, but I have not seen any action. That somebody, police is catching hold of something or somebody. And immediately the flash came about some encounter, police encounter,
Mhm.
firing, and all the images started emerging into my mind. And I just witnessed the entire scenario I thought it was an imagination.
Mm. Mm.
And when I reached home that night, I couldn't sleep early,
Mm.
and I was awake till late night. Next day morning, I did not reach my office. I had my travel business and travel office. So I was laid back, and after my lunch, I went to the office. And in the afternoon, I picked up you know, a newspaper tablet
Mhm.
midday. In that, there was an incident which happened in that area, and that was an encounter of a very prominent gangster.
Oh.
Okay, these are the description. When I read it, these are the same images which I had seen when I was passing from there, and it just happened a couple of hours before.
Wow.
And that time I realized that I can access my consciousness,
Mm.
and that my consciousness or my soul has revealed something which was happening there. And that was my experience of, I now can say it was an astral travel.
Mm.
So when I'm talking to my clients, in case where I have to see something or speak something, or to answer something, I instantly astral travel and go back in their past and understanding what they are talking. So for
Mm.
me, it is a ongoing and a continuous thing. It is not something that I intentionally, I spare out some time like a meditation or any ritual that now I'm going to do my astral travel. If I have a question before going to sleep, I set an intent and I set the direction. So automatically in the morning or in the dream, I will get answer and everything is processed, and that is reflected into the reality of my life without analytical understanding of what has transpired in my dream.
Wow.
So for me, it is a continuous process. It is not something that, so when I'm talking, I'm actually witnessing and going into that state. I'm not accessing my memory.
Mm.
It is just I'm projecting my soul into that space and realizing what is happening. So the detail and the nuances which I may not have noticed or which is not in my memory at that point of time is now available to me, and I can access that again. Because every incident which has happened is a very dynamic, and
Mm.
it is a multi-dimensional event. It is not a singular dimensional event. So every person who is involved in that incident has their own dimensional reality to look at it. And all the facets of any incident is not available to any mankind at one point of time unless he is well advanced and looking things from the higher perspective.
Oh. So when you're talking about dimensions, so like, can you elaborate more about this dimension? About like you're talking about like one people look at one dimension and another people look at another dimension. No one can access all the dimension at the same time. So, like
It's like
how?
having the different cameras, it's like having a different viewpoint of the same scene.
Mm.
It's identical or similar to that, but still the nuances which you catch as from your consciousness is very different in
Mm.
each case. To give you a very simple example of to looking at the dimension is again a very huge topic to talk about. So when you shift your dimension, what happens? You are into three-dimensional reality. So
Correct.
to understand the dimension, there is a dimension of dimension is the, is in simple terminology, it is the how something in a vacuum that we define. Suppose there is a complete vacuum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do we define the vacuum? So we have to have the, see, length, breadth, height, width. These are the dimensions, right, in the physical reality.
Correct.
So in the perspective reality, the dimension is of time also. The
Mm.
dimension is of space also. Time and space is one dimension.
Mm.
They are not two different dimensions.
Mm.
From the spiritual perspective, from the perspective of the soul, as we experience as a human,
Mm.
the time that we process, for us, the time is lateral. It's just moving forward, right?
Correct. Yep.
Because we are in the three-dimensional reality.
Mm.
If you get into the fourth dimension, fifth dimension reality, where the time and space is one,
Okay. So we can go back to the time, or we can go forward in the time.
yeah, you can do backward, forward.
Okay. Mm. Mm. Mm.
You can
Interesting.
actually access any part of the time, and you can even control the time. You have the power to control. It's a very simple. I don't know why there are many movies depicting this concepts, but why is it so difficult? Because we live in that limited space, limited reality, and we don't want to move out of that. We consider that as a very something very technical. You cannot control time. Time is an absolute thing. Time can never be an absolute thing.
We don't have tools, Guruji. So like
So
like
it's not
all.
about tools. It is about your intention. It is about how you access your soul.
Mm.
If you access your soul, controlling the time, if you shift the dimension, controlling time and space is a very small thing. It's not a big thing.
I
When
mean,
in practical reality, see, it is not something when I'm discussing, people will, when they listen to this or when they access to this, they are going to make a mockery. Some people will make a mockery because if they don't understand the reality, they will not understand. Their level of consciousness will not permit them to look at it from the depth of it.
mm. Mm.
And then day in, day out, what you can experience as an individual, if I only ask you to look those experiences, you know that you can control time. To
Mm.
give you a simple example, you are waiting outside, you have a toothache, and you are waiting outside doctor's cabin,
Mm.
dentist's cabin, and there are three patients ahead of you. How the time will feel to you?
Lot. Like it's going very slow.
It's on and on and on. It's stretched.
Yeah, it's stretched. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you are participating in a very happy event of a rock star or a music concert of your liking.
Time
How
flies.
time flews.
It flies like a second.
It's how it flies so fantastically fast. Why?
So we just want to live
Because
in that moment and time goes away.
yes, so it is a relative. This shows that the time is relative.
Ah.
Time is not absolute.
Mm.
Time is not defined by the clock.
Mm.
Time is not defined by the movement of the sun and the moon.
Wow.
One of the fascinating thing about the time is that when I have been talking about this n number of times, but not as a concept, you have to experience as actually it is happening. The challenges with the social media right now and the all the type of information that is available, it has more to do with the theoretical aspect, and the perception is also more of the theoretical.
Mm.
it is very difficult to get you into an experiential state and making you understand the whole different concepts and the dimension of it. So basically, the you see, when we started the conversation until now, approximately per second 635 kilometers the galaxy Milky Way galaxy traveled. So this is the distance we have traveled, and this is the actually space and time we have already crossed that point.
Yeah, we're traveling fast.
So what is can you sense it? Can you understand it? Can you at least recognize it? Can you know it? If you at least understand this concept, that means your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and everything is not in the same space and same time. It has been shifting. If you are so aware, you can understand how is that your consciousness. If you just observant to what is happening to you in the true meditative state, you can realize this moment. So fundamentally, time is something that, okay, if you see what are my experiences with time, in cases where I have covered a distance which is of, something like an hour plus, maybe hour and a half into 10 to 15 minutes in the real time.
Mm,
This is possible.
come again, Guruji.
So, if suppose I have to cross a distance from one place to another place, which actually normally takes 1.5 hours,
Right.
I have covered that distance in 15 minutes.
How is that possible?
That's the way you can transform the way you process the time.
Mm,
And these concepts are explained in various movies that we witness. A time dilation concept was explained in the Interstellar movie,
yeah, yeah,
because in a different dimension, the time operates very differently.
right.
You know, in our Puranas, in our Vedas, this has also been explained. Time dilation. The
Mm,
whole astrophysics, physics, quantum physics is taken from the Vedas. So where my part is, I'm not a scientist. I don't want. I'm just talking and getting you how to get that experience for you. I'm a more of a person who would like to give an experience rather than to explain the concepts. You have witnessed this, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, Guruji. Um,
That my focus is more of a experiential rather than the theoretizing the things and the conceptualizing some ideas.
wow. So can we go back to my like
Yes,
previous
Travis.
question? Yeah, can we go back to my previous question? Uh, like the tools that we need, the guidance that we need, like for normal people like me. So how we can go to the
For
astral?
the astral travel, the simple guidance that I can give to do the astral travel, I will give you a process. Okay,
Yeah,
very simple process to operate with.
yeah, Guruji.
You have to get over certain myths before you really get into the astral travel. As to a few of the myths, I will share with you
Yeah.
that you should understand that the astral travel is all in mind. It's a product of some conscious imagination. Uh, you see, it's a limitation of the mind. There is a fear involved with the silver cord attached to our navel. and what is going to happen there.
Mm-hmm.
If we are lost, then we may
Mm-hmm.
die. Uh,
Something like we
if,
can come back. Can we come back?
yeah, somebody feels that uh, we may not come back.
Yep.
Nothing is going to happen. A silver code is an illusion. If you feel any time fear, you can just open your eyes, you can wake up, and things will be fine for you.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about it at
What's
all.
the silver code you're talking about? Like
This silver code is a concept given by people. It's
uh,
actually astral travel is a tunnel that you pass through, a tunnel of light before you get into the astral world.
mm-hmm.
From the this three-dimensional reality, if you want to shift to the astral reality, it's an imaginary tunnel, and from that the concept of the silver code is that gives the people a safety and security. So somebody has designed this illusion
Okay.
that you have to attach an imaginary silver code into some area that we want to travel. So these are the illusions, in my opinion, and I have researched and studied,
Mm-hmm.
and I have talked with various masters on this. So, and my reading suggests me that this is all myths,
Oh.
and it is for actually the astral travel. Very interestingly, you are in US, and the one of the objective of the astral travel is to do a remote viewing, and you know uh, in that the American government has put a lot of money in the past to spy on the Russia, and this was the major project in Pentagon to identify the nuke sites which were prevailing, uh,
Wow.
and there was an official training on the remote viewing, and a lot of experts were hired. And after that, the America has dropped that project
Mm-hmm.
after doing for many many years. So one of the objective is to do that, and actually it is about the alignment with the divine. You know, so sometimes you feel that what you are seeing is distortion, which is not so. So before you start, these are the topics and these are the points you have to take into account. Before you really astral travel, you have to prepare for that time, and you have to take out time for that. Initially, when you are learning, you have to clear your own self. You have to bring into the positive self of you. You need to avoid alcohol and caffeine before you travel. To
Okay.
prepare the environment with the mind and body, and keep your mind and body calm, eat less. You need to decide where you want to go. You need to do the space clearance, take the inner protection, and do some stretching exercises a couple of hours before.
Mm-hmm.
And you start with the you know now I'm going to reveal to you 2 weeks plan for the astral travel. So in the first, what you do is, after all the preparation that you need to do in a daily basis, that clear the space, clear your thought, decide your destination, whatever that you want to do. Before doing it, actually every day for 2 weeks, you have to do these two processes. One, you have to see the dot on the wall
Mm-hmm.
4 times a day. You have to create a dot on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
keep it, and 4 times a day you have to look at that dot consciously for 5 to 10 minutes with an open eyes. And after looking at the 5 to 10 minutes with an open eyes, you have to close your eyes and look at the same dot for the same amount of time that you have looked. Initially that may be challenge, but subsequently you will master this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so difficult. So after doing it for the first week, in your second week,
Mm-hmm.
you have to expand the dots from whatever the size you have created.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, you can create the size of you know, 1 inch by 1 inch. 1 inch diameter, then you have to feel that your dot is expanding, expanding, expanding. And that you have to feel it 4 times for 10 minutes with an open eyes and then the closed eyes.
Okay.
After you've done it for 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
you have to just start by clearing your destination. Set a time limit for the astral travel, which is 40 to 30 to 45 minutes. And you can expand the dot mentally so you are entering into the tunnel and you can go on and imagine the earth as a start planet, and then you can travel into different planets or different galaxies as you learn the whole process. It's a very enchanting, it's very fascinating to visit those places and visit different areas. When I say coincidentally, when I say I'm a man from beyond, actually that is the stage where we have traveled not once, twice, number of times.
Mm.
And that's where the whole energy source that we get from. And that's where the whole perception changes for us. So moving out of the conscious reality into the cosmic reality, into the para world, and to the ultimate state, in that also there are 10 different dimensions in which we travel. So you have to start imagining the earth as a starting planet,
Mm.
pass the tunnel, initially access the seven spiritual dimensions. You can access Akashic records.
Mm-hmm.
You can access 22 archetypes.
Mm.
So these are the objectives that you can have in your mind. It's not a fancy that I want to see where my girlfriend is or where my XYZ, what my boss is doing. No, no, that's not for the astral travel. Initially, the purpose has to be very high. So the attitude matters, the clear purpose matters, and the progressive service matters. You are doing for the progressive service. If you enhance, you can pass on that enhancement to the people. It's not only for your personal benefit, it's also you expand to the level of consciousness which helps others.
Mm.
Unless your objective is to help others, the energies will not guide you. It is not going to take you to the places. Your real intentions will not matter at all.
Okay. Okay. So, so our if you're looking for service oriented goals, so you get benefit out of it even more. So even if you have ill intentions, so we cannot, like, we don't even move forward a step. Is that so? Yeah.
It will not. It will not allow you to enter the consciousness or that level of consciousness. It will create all sorts of illusions for you,
Mm.
and you remain at the lower realm, and you remain in those illusions only, realizing that okay, I'm into the higher spiritual realm, and I'm accessing the information, and I know few things that no, it's not so. It will keep you in the illusion.
Okay. So what are the things we need to avoid, Guruji? So like when I hear from your speeches from before, so I hear about like we need to avoid black holes, any dark matter. So
Black holes, not
yeah.
dark matter. Black holes, definitely. Black hole comes. Don't get into it. Just go away from that.
Okay. Okay.
Do not try to get into black holes in the astral travel.
Okay.
If you want to go and if you want to experience, it's a different ball game. You require a mentor. You require a trainer who has been to those places.
Mm, mm,
A
mm.
whole of the Akashic record classes go, or everybody who learns the Akashic record is basically an astral traveler.
Oh, okay. Hmm. Uh, so like one experience from my medications, Guruji. So when I like when I sit and when I try, well, like when I want to do like traveling, I want to go to intergalactic travel. I want to think about like different things. I want to see uh, like different stars. I want to experience like some stars which are about to die, or like the gaseous clouds, the stars which want to form. So if I want to think about those things, I'm gonna sit. But for me, sometimes I couldn't able to get passed through from the earth. So like even though my intentions are just to travel, I mean just to experience all the things, like I don't have any specific goals for like even for myself or for anyone. I just want to travel. So something stops me, something not letting me pass through the earth. So why is that so, Guruji?
Okay. Divya, you know the tool, you know the art, okay? Because you have been empowered by the Divya Shakti.
Right.
Divya Shakti automatically gives you the power to astral travel. Automatic. You
Mm-mm.
don't have to do the process which I have told you right now. It's just one intention. So, what you need to do is to set your intention very clearly before you travel. You set your destination before you travel.
Mm.
And you have to set your purpose before the travel.
Okay. So yeah, previously I didn't do
You
anything
can't,
about
there is no
so.
way, I mean, you cannot wander. If the
Mm.
soul wanders, it actually wants to find out the origin of itself. It's a natural process for every individual to experience the astral travel in the dream or in the sleep, because the soul is searching from its origin, from where it is departed.
Mm. Okay. So like if I don't have any intention, any purpose or a goal, it is just want to search the
No,
route.
yes, exactly. You
So.
defined. Okay, I want to get into multi-dimensional reality, interstellar galaxies are that I want to travel. For what purpose you want to travel?
Mm.
What is your intention of travel? What will you do after you get this information? How are you going to utilize for the higher purpose of yourself and others?
Yeah, I didn't set anything. I just want to wander. Maybe that is the reason, like you said.
That is why the whole energetic support that you need you may not get that. Huh?
Hmm. Okay, okay. So will can the goal be like something personal only, or only it should be
It can
something?
be personal. It is very much personal. You can have your own personal goals.
Okay, something I wanna achieve, something in the career or something.
It's not about your personal achievements. It's about a personal input that you want to get. Where you want your higher self to align with yourself. Without the higher self alignment, even if you travel once astrally, it actually starts aligning you with the higher self. The more and more astral travel you do, the more and more you get aligned with your higher purpose and the higher self. Because
Right.
if you are aligned with your higher self, your higher purpose is automatically lived.
Hmm.
Am I
So
clear?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm like thinking
It's
about.
not about that I have a challenges in my job or whatever.
Mm.
But these are symptoms. You cannot treat the symptoms without knowing the true cause of it.
Okay, so the root cause. We need to look into the root causes.
So what we do as okay, we guide people, we guide them to steer through their life challenges. It's all about guiding them for knowing, taking the journey into various lives and finding out where the challenges are and how to slide through those challenges and get rid of it and overcome that after learning few things.
Mm. Mm.
Obstacle is not something which is coming in your way like in the road and then you remove it with something, some instrument, some machinery. It's not like that. In practical reality, as in human self, you have to learn through these challenges.
Mm.
So there are two perspectives to the world that we are living in and why we are here in this. It's a very fascinating thing to understand that why is that the life is only on the earth that we experience as the humans. No, it is not so. The life is there in various planets, in various galaxies,
Mm.
in the astral form, into the the aliens which are in that consciousness. They have different bodies. Their bodies are not made of five elements
Mm.
that we think of when we know about in the earth dimension, and they operate through the light rather than the body that we understand. So why is that we are only there in the earth? Earth is a school that we have to learn few things.
Mm. Mm.
And as Palladius told us, there is a whole civilization in the galaxy that it is called Palladius, and Palladius has given a message through a people, and there is a book about it that the Palladius says that Earth is a living library.
Mhm.
It contains all the possible information of this universe.
Wow.
That is also another dimension to look at it.
Mm.
Into a spiritual journey, it's not about just exploring
Mm.
only theoretical knowledges.
Mm. Wow. Um, that's so fascinating, Guruji, to know about this. Um, so, I just want to ask another question. So, like, people, so astral traveling, is it all about like go like traveling to outside the earth, outside the galaxy and stuff? So is it something, can we go inward, so something somewhere, like we have our traumas from the past, so can we go back and can we heal
Told you,
in
yes, it's
situation?
Akashic record, it's past life, it's past, present, and future. You can also astral travel in future and know what is happening, and you can tweak and twist your life.
Wow. so so if we are not letting the things happening as they were, like as they're supposed to happen, if we tweak in the middle, aren't we branching the time, aren't we creating alternative timelines? How
Well,
is it related to
well,
in
well,
future?
the idea, the branching the time or alternative timelines is something, a new word that you have discovered. There is nothing called alternative timeline. There is only time,
um, I
and
mean,
time is a different dilation of the time. In the science, the time is a different dilation. That means that what we experience time as a one day here on the earth is not the same is to on the different planets. It's not same on the different galaxies. It's not the same. But if you do the comparison of the time, two different timelines, in that perspective, you can call the timeline that what is the time looks like in the Saturn or on the Jupiter, and what is the timeline that we experience on the Earth is very different. So the day as we experience here is not the day in the Jupiter or the Saturn. So you can expand the same analogy towards the different galaxies,
mm,
and then the different dimensions. The experiences on the different dimensional realities are also very fascinating to explore.
mm, mm,
So if you are expert on your own, you can do the travel, and any guidance if you require, just ping me.
Mm. Yeah.
But it has to be a serious guy. Otherwise, I'm not going to answer some basic questions. For that, you can access to my this. I've done a couple of webinars on this and
Right.
videos on this, and I've re-explained it again in this. So for that, you can access the basic information.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Um. So yeah, like there is another thing, Guruji. So I just want to know whether if I can use astral travel for that. So I'm searching for ideas for a startup. So like I couldn't find any, or like I don't want to reinvent things. I just want to help existing companies. So but I don't know what exactly, like who to reach, like what exact idea. So can I do astral travel for this?
For what?
To start a company to help the companies
So you can just travel in your future.
in my future.
Yeah, and see if I start this company, what it would be.
Okay, so and work backwards.
You just have, you first have to have an experience of the astral travel.
Mm.
You have to start with the small. You have to start with some basics. You have to gain enough experience and training on the astral travel before you really venture into a big question of your life.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
You may get into a wrong interpretation
Mm, okay.
because your conscious mind will come in. Do you know how to silent your conscious mind and actually get the right information? That's why a mentoring is the must. It's
Mm,
like a flying an aircraft.
yeah, yeah.
It's like flying, the satellite. I mean, launching a satellite.
Mm,
So initially, you start something. You start small things. You start on a day-to-day basis. You start about your next day. You start about some basic information that you should gather. Get some expertise to what is. Know, get the confidence that yes, now I can actually travel very well. So now you understand when you do 100 of interpretations of your journey,
mm, mm,
then you know it. You don't need anybody to tell you what to do and what not to do. Suppose if you get a wrong information, I mean, your conscious mind has created something and you access to that information and take the decision. What will happen? So I'm not advising that.
yeah.
One has to understand how to interpret the information that you get.
Mm,
And based on that, how do you act on it?
mm, 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 yeah. Makes sense, Guruji. And like when we do this, like, is there any direction that we want to do, like north, east, west, south? No, no, right? Yeah, thank God. So I barely believe in any directions because we don't have any direction, as per my understanding, because it's just human created thing.
Not human create. There is a science behind it. I don't say that.
Mm,
The directions are based basically on the how the even directions are not fixed.
correct. Mm,
East is not east shifts at least 4 to 5 times, say four more than 4 times in a year.
yeah, exactly.
And with the new changes on the earth, uh, actually the north also is shifting quite a lot.
Yeah, like sometimes the poles exchange. The south becomes north, north becomes.
Yeah, it's going
Mm,
to shift.
yeah.
It is shifting. It is in the process.
Mm,
So how do you know that the poles are shifting? It is shifting of the electromagnetic forces on both. So
mm,
that the gravitational force also changes.
mm.
Do you know one of the interesting revelation that the interstellar gave us, and we have failed to recognize that at even the biggest spiritual masters that I have spoken to, that Maybe that they know they could not spell it out or what they. Interest, those who have not seen the Interstellar or not have seen once and not been able to get my point again, just go back and look at it. It says in
Mm-hmm.
the very first time when I saw the movie, this was the message was very clear, and I could understand so many things that I could do it because of it.
Oh, like what?
The source, the how the communication so fast travels between different dimensions. What is the source of the communication? So the time, space, and the another dimension is the gravity.
Right.
And gravity is the source of communication.
Mm. Yeah, when they go to black hole, so
No, it's a
you
very the whole in the whole dimension of the cosmic reality, the communication happens so fast only because of the gravity. And if you tap into the gravitational or anti-gravitational force, you know exactly at the speed of which you can communicate.
huh. Uh, so doesn't like so different planets have different gravitational force and
No, 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 no. If gravitational force helps you to, it's like a device that we use right now. I'm talking to you. We use the communication. We are giving the information bits by bits.
correct.
Okay, the whole of the video you cannot see it once. If I want to see this video of 1 hour in just a go, what is the method of communication? Is the gravity.
Method of the communication. Uh,
So how did the father, protagonist, send the information to the daughter through the library? If you know the
right.
Interstellar,
Yeah.
how did he passed on this information? That was through gravity.
Mm. Mm.
He was sitting onto the different dimension, onto the different planet, in
Right.
different galaxy. From there, he passed on in the time zone where he was. From there, he passed on this information to this
Mm.
daughter in the library. What was the mode of communication between both of them? That was the gravity.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like he passes the books and in the Morse code. So and like she understands what is happening there. Right. Right.
These are not
Mm.
frictions. I mean, fictions.
Mm.
These are the facts. And these are the science. And you have all the powers within you to deal with this kind of challenges and this kind of situations.
Mm.
You can transmit the message to your own self in the past. You in the future, you can
Oh,
receive the message from your own self from the future. Look
that's
at the possibility.
because like the question I asked about the timelines because there is a thought experiments in physics that if you have a time machine, you go forward. I mean, yeah, you go from the time machine, you go past, like to the back where your mom is end. So, like, if you kill your mom, so will you still exist in the future? So, like,
It's a paradox.
it's a paradox. So, like, if you still exist in the future, how can you come back? So,
There is a try. There was a movie called Back to the Future.
yeah, Back to the Future. Yeah,
And
it's
this concept was
super
very
cool.
well defined and very well demonstrated and illustrated.
Yeah.
Those who
Yeah,
have not seen this, they must see it.
yeah, it's a very fun movie. They didn't mention about alternative timelines. So like they have only one timeline. They just altered like the one we are talking previously. So in some other movies, like if we see Marvel, we can see different alternative universes. Just universes will form if someone tweaks a little bit in the time, in the forward. So everything changes. So that's my concern about like Aren't
What is your concern?
aren't we going against the nature, like as is,
You
like
cannot. If you go against the nature will stop you.
so isn't going forward and backward in the time changing things, isn't that going against the nature?
That is the innate nature of our soul. And we are actually not going. These are also wrong concepts. We are going and we are doing and we are doing. That's nothing happens. It's a unified field of consciousness. You enter and you know everything.
Okay, it's not about us we are doing, so it's the soul doing its job.
Yeah, it's you are in the unified field of consciousness.
Mm.
In there, everything is accessible at one in a go.
Okay, okay.
Like electric current, which is there right now in our house, is the same current which is flowing from the origin, from where it is generated. So if you touch here, it is the same current which is there. So it's a unified field of current. Similarly, it's a unified field of consciousness.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that's an interesting topic, Guruji. Do you have anything more to add on this, or like, do we do a wrap
What?
for today? Like,
What is the point?
so I mean, do you have anything to add about this astral travel that I miss asking any question, something that
No,
anyone
I just
know?
want, I just want, if you are very sincere and serious, if you really want to look into you want to uplift your life,
No.
before even the astral travel, before venturing into various spiritual field, the consciousness is expanding so fast, and we as a humans are getting more aware about everything. And when I'm watching that is getting reflected into various podcasts and the social medias that I watch and listen to, the one of the finest things. So it's an consciousness which is revealing the consciousness through the consciousness. So it is growing at a very faster speed. What is most important for any human to realize and understand that without your soul upgradation, everything will be slow.
Mm,
All this will be useful only once you upgrade your soul to the next level. And that is something which will give you acceleration and the speed in living your life.
right.
Energy and the consciousness is the only way to speed up your journey into the third dimensional reality.
Mm,
Taking things like dream, astral travel, Akashic record, remote viewing, blah blah blah, whatever it is the different dimension of your own powers. And they are too tiny and too small in front of you.
mm.
Don't allow them to overpower you.
Oh, mm.
Am I clear?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very clear. So yeah, I mean, I think we ran out of time,
Yeah,
more
yeah,
than an hour. So it's a very interesting topic. So yeah, we'll meet next week with a new topic and with very interesting questions and interesting answers from Guruji. So okay, that's a wrap. Okay, thank you so much, Guruji. Thanks for your
thank
time.
you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Just hold on.